Chapter 5 The Multiverse and the Mandela Effect. The Mandela Effect is a theory of parallel universes to explain why masses of people have similar memories about past events that did not happen. Max Loughan explains that CERN may have destroyed our past universe, and we are now living in a slightly different universe within the multiverse. The video seems to have been removed by YouTube, but was reproduced in other places. Try searching for Genius Max Loughan explains the Mandela Effect. When I saw this, I immediately thought perhaps there was a connection between the destroyed universe and the prophesied end date of the Mayan Calendar of December 21st, 2012, a precessional correspondence. Although we don't recall the catastrophe, it did happen, triggering the Mandela Effect. This new universe only has insignificant differences from the old. We can only seem to identify them in collective pop culture memory. We needn't take this as fact, but the theory can help us understand what is going on in base reality. So that's the end of chapter 5. I will try to wind myself up to unpack that. This video went around the internet. I went a little bit viral on some alternative sites. This Max Loughan guy is actually a kid. He's 12. But the way he explained the Mandela Effect was actually something you could follow. Like it wasn't like a blackboard of math. Although I assume that he's sort of they're pitching him as a kind of genius. I don't really know much about him. I think I'd seen him on some other videos. He certainly is very well spoken for a 12-year-old. I'll try to remember how he described the Mandela Effect, because that really stuck with me and sort of helped in coming up with some of the ideas in this book. So he's saying that the multiverse. He's saying that the multiverse is like I guess we would all be living on one side of the multiverse, or one piece of the multiverse. But he's saying that basically the multiverse is like they're so similar. Like basically when you stack universes next to each other, you'd have to go many layers of change before you actually see major differences. So he's saying like the universe right next to ours, and he has some sort of visual diagram to explain the multiverse. So like let's say we have there's one universe that's slightly different than ours, but it's almost insignificant. Like that's what he's saying, how the multiverse works. And he's hypothesizing that CERN destroyed our old universe. I think it was somewhere around 2012. I'm not sure if he actually gave a specific date, but CERN is, I don't think it's that old. So, because, and this is me jumping in, because he doesn't really get into consciousness that much, although I think he is probably, among the science people, probably one of the people that's going to be leading research areas in the field of consciousness, I believe. So consciousness is one thing, right? But multiverse is, infinity universes. So if you can kind of think about that. So even though if CERN did destroy our universe in, let's say 2012, our consciousness would just leap to the next universe. And maybe I'm going to just riff on how that could work. Like maybe all those potentialities exist in consciousnness, but we are focused on the consensus reality of the universe we're all agreeing on. But those other universes are existing, so maybe they're existing in sort of like a dream or something like that. So when the universe is destroyed, we just that same consciousness awakens in the next universe. Maybe some people will remember the end of the world in dreams, but most will not. So that's what he's hypothesizing could have happened when with CERN doing their tinkering. So that kind of gives a scientific explanation of the Mandela effect. If you bring in multiverse theory, so we would those memories that so many of us believe, can agree to, like the Berenstain or the Berenstein Bear spelling, or some of the quotes in some of the script in The Wizard of Oz. More extremely, Nelson Mandela died in the 80s or something like that. Most people don't really have that experience, but some do, which is why it's named the Mandela Effect. So, let's take the Berenstain Bears Mandela Effect memory. So that would be a clue as to one of the very tiny differences in when our consciousness jumped to the next universe in the onion of universes, because the one was destroyed. That's sort of the clue as to why there's this phenomena. I mean, I think maybe you could say deja vu is something like that too. I mean, I can definitely say I don't even know if it was a dream, but I had an experience where I felt like I had memories and feelings of someone else's life. Like, it was very strange. Like, basically I thought I basically wasn't doing well in school, and I was in danger of not graduating or something like that. But the memories and the feeling was so vivid, it created an anxiety within me that I still remember. And then the more conscious I become of it, I'm like, I'm out of school almost 20 years, college that is. I didn't have that. I never had that problem at all. But something bled into, something bled into my own consciousness that someone else's, or maybe it was another me. That's the thing. Like, maybe it was me, but bleeding in from one of these multiverses, where I was having trouble in school, and so that's what, because it certainly felt like me. I can't say it wasn't me, but it just wasn't my life. So I don't know. That's a little tangent, but that hopefully that gives a sort of, I don't want to say layman's interpretation of Max Laulin's CERN destroyed our universe theory, but that's my understanding. Really go look it up on YouTube. It's I don't know, maybe it's 10 minutes, but it's a great he's actually he's a kid, so he can actually communicate very well. It's meant for, I mean, he's just filmed at his kitchen table. But I wanted, what I thought was, my own connection was that, remember, in December 21st, 2012, there was this whole sort of craze that the world was going to end. Maybe it did end. That's my own reading of this. So, one could hypothesize that the world ended, and we ended up in this alternate multiverse. Regarding the Mayan calendar, I think it's really that the calendar ends on that date, and the new age begins. The calendar resets. So we go back to precession, which we talked about in chapter 2. In the game theory, I'm sort of grafting onto reality. So I think I think that's an interesting thing to think about. I think that, I think that's, I'm not really saying that that's what happened. But as you'll find in this book, I'm saying that's what, I guess I am saying that's what happened. When you start to talk about the multiverse, you realize that regarding potentiality, all possibilities exist, and you are the one you are choosing you are choosing reality. So you could say that I'm saying that what I've just laid out here, you could say I believe that is real. I choose that reality, and that, in a simplistic way, I'm saying that is real. That is reality in your corner of the multiverse. We'll have to get into that later because I think I still haven't built up. I think in the chapters, I'm building up to the wild theory as to why we need the truth cipher. The truth cipher is not the description of reality. It's sort of like the anecdote to the preposterousness of reality. I think I want to save that for another episode. So maybe that's just a teaser. So I think I can leave it there for now. Definitely look up Max Loughan explains the Mandela Effect, or I think that's just sort of something you want to hold in your mind. You want to think about it. I'll leave it at there for now. Until next time.